The confetti stuck to my shoe. Red, blue, gold. All of it shimmering in the glow of people's dreams coming true. Just not mine. I stood in the back of the high school auditorium just behind the last row of metal chairs that dug into people's backs. From there, I watched them all, my family beaming like they'd won the lottery. And in the middle of it was Ashley, my baby sister, their pride, their trophy. And I was the punchline. No one had to speak aloud anymore. Ashley flipped her dark hair over one shoulder and laughed that kind of laugh that pulled all eyes toward her. She looked amazing, cap, perched perfectly golden cords around her neck, and that smug expression she wore like perfume. She glanced over at me, smirked, and said under her breath, "Don't worry, Rachel. You'll be in the picture this time. Just stand in the back, like always." It stung more than it should have, not because it was unexpected. Ashley had been doing this dance for years, subtle, shiny insults disguised as sisterly jokes. But this wasn't just family. This was public. She wanted the people around us, her friends, the teachers, to hear. And they did. One girl snorted into her hand. A boy next to her whispered something, and they both laughed. I pretended not to notice, pretended not to hear. But Lucas did. My son's hand tightened around mine. He was 12, just old enough to see the truth, and too young to pretend it didn't hurt. Then came the moment that would light the match. "Smile," someone called. A teacher held up a camera, gesturing for the Morgan family to gather by the stage for a photo. Everyone moved. Ashley in the center naturally, Mom on one side, Uncle Bob on the other. Cousins squeezed in. I hung back. It wasn't even conscious. It was muscle memory. I'd learned how to shrink myself at these things. But Lucas tugged my hand. "Mom," he said, brows furrowed. "You should be in this." I hesitated. My mom saw me then and did that thing she always does, turned to Ashley and brushed something off her gown like a movie mother in a coming-of-age film. "This one actually made something of herself," she said. Not a whisper, not even a mutter. She said it like a toast, like a blessing. Laughter bubbled around us. Uncle Bob leaned in with his trademark jab. Yeah, the other one couldn't even graduate a marriage. Someone chuckled. Maybe a teacher, maybe a stranger. But it didn't matter. It felt like the sound of glass cracking under pressure. I should have said something. Should have thrown the champagne glass like a movie heroine, stormed out, screamed into the sky. But I didn't. I stood still. My throat was a closed door. My eyes were frozen rivers. And my mother didn't even glance at me. Ashley did, though. She met my gaze with a smile. Not an apologetic one. No guilt, no shame, just triumph. Like this was a performance and she'd nailed her line. I looked down at Lucas. His jaw was tight, his cheeks flushed. But he didn't speak. Not then. He just let go of my hand. And I didn't know it at the time, but that tiny movement was the beginning of everything. Moments like that, the kind you don't realize matter until later, are the ones I've started sharing here. If this story feels familiar, if you've ever been measured in someone else's shadow, hit like or subscribe. You're not alone. They say comparison is the thief of joy, but in my family comparison was tradition, passed down like heirlooms. My mother Carol had a gift for turning every holiday dinner into a silent contest, every phone call into a subtle scoreboard. And Ashley, she was the undefeated champion. Growing up, she was the one with the framed certificates and color-coded notebooks. I was the one with the potential that kept disappointing everyone. I dropped out of college to raise Lucas after his father bailed, and somehow that decision became a permanent watermark on my character. No matter how many bills I paid, jobs I juggled, or parent-teacher nights I attended, I was still the girl who threw it all away. Ashley came 8 years after me. She was born during our dad's final cancer treatments, so she grew up in a quieter, softer household. Our mother pampered her, maybe out of grief, maybe guilt. But the result was the same. Ashley became untouchable. I didn't mind when we were younger. She was a sweet kid, always clinging to my leg, begging me to read the same bedtime story twice. But somewhere around her sophomore year, that sweetness hardened into something sharp. She stopped calling me Ray Ray and started calling me the babysitter. She started telling stories about me to her friends, the kind that made them laugh and glance at me like I was a character in a sad sitcom. I pretended not to hear, but Lucas, he heard everything. The first time was at a family picnic last summer. I was helping set up the grill when I heard giggling behind the shed. Ashley's voice crystal clear. "Seriously, my sister's a walking rom-com tragedy. College dropout baby at 23, and her husband couldn't even last 2 years. She's like an inspirational poster for bad decisions. Laughter, camera shutters, snide applause. Lucas was sitting on the grass nearby drawing in his sketchbook. He looked up at me, eyes darker than they should have been. I shook it off, told myself kids forget things. Except Lucas didn't. He started carrying his iPad around more, playing with the voice memo app. At first, I thought it was just for his YouTube hobbies. But then one night, he showed me something that made my blood run cold. A recording. Ashley's voice again. This time from our cousin's wedding. Rachel's just jealous, she'd said. If I had her life, I'd lie down in traffic. Honestly, if she shows up in that green dress again, someone please sedate her. I heard the clip and laughed at first. Not because it was funny, but because I was exhausted. Exhausted from acting like it didn't matter. Lucas didn't laugh. He just said, "Why do they think you can't hear them?" I didn't know how to answer that. Because the truth was, I'd let them believe it. I'd let silence protect them. But Lucas, he wasn't having it. The week of graduation, Ashley invited the family to a dinner at a local banquet hall. Fancy place linen napkins and lemon water. She made a point to say it was only for people who've been supportive. Then with a sugary smile, she added, "But of course you can come, Rachel. I mean, you are family, technically." I was about to decline. Honestly, I didn't think I could stomach it. Then Lucas slid a thumb drive across the kitchen table. "I made a slideshow," he said casually. "It's for Ashley's party." I raised an eyebrow. "A slideshow?" He nodded. "Yeah, it's got pictures, school stuff, music, and a few quotes." Quotes. He smiled, small, tight family reflections. I should have asked more questions. I should have read between the lines. But I didn't. I just stared at him, at this 12-year-old boy with eyes too old for his age, and nodded. "Okay," I said, "let's go to the dinner." Lucas has always been quiet, but not passive. He's the type of kid who watches before he speaks, who notices the slight pause in someone's breath or the flicker of a fake smile. He's a collector of moments my son and I used to think that meant he was just sensitive. I didn't realize he was building something, recording everything, remembering everyone. After Ashley's final jab, technically family, I was ready to skip the banquet altogether. I'd already braced myself for the usual walk through a minefield of passive-aggressive jokes and Carol's strategic pride. But Lucas had other ideas. "I made a slideshow," he said, handing me a thumb drive. I blinked at it. "For Ashley." He nodded. "They're expecting something sentimental. Just pictures and stuff." I added music, a few quotes from family conversations. I tilted my head, trying to gauge his tone. "What kind of quotes?" He shrugged like it was nothing, the true kind. That gave me pause. "Lucas," I said, a warning wrapped in concern. We're not trying to start something." He met my eyes. "We're not. We're just letting people hear what they already said. I didn't make anything up." That's when it clicked. The iPad, the headphones, the voice memos. Lucas hadn't just been a witness, he'd been archiving our lives. "You've been recording only the parts you pretended not to hear." I sat down. My legs felt weak. "Why?" He looked at me like the answer was obvious. "Because I got tired of watching them treat you like garbage." My heart twisted. It should have been me protecting him, shielding him. But he'd been the one watching me, silently gathering evidence like a quiet soldier preparing for war. "But what do you want to happen?" I asked. He didn't flinch. "I want them to hear themselves, and I want you to stop pretending you don't deserve better." There it was. My 12-year-old son planning a controlled emotional detonation. "Lucas," I whispered, touched and terrified all at once, "this could go really badly." Or he said calmly, "It could go exactly how it needs to." The plan was simple. The banquet hall had rented a projector and speakers. Ashley had asked each family member to contribute a photo or short video. Lucas offered to compile it all into one tribute. Nobody questioned it. He was the smart one, just like his aunt. Funny how the golden child never sees the gold in someone else. He worked on it in his room, headphones on, eyes focused. I wasn't allowed to watch. "It's better if you're surprised," he told me. I didn't sleep much the night before the event. I kept wondering if I should stop him, if I should just tell him to delete it, take the high road, be the bigger person. But then I remembered the way Ashley smiled when she cut me down. The way my mother's voice turned tender only for her. The way I had quietly accepted all of it for far too long. Lucas wasn't just doing this for me. He was doing it because of me. Because I had taught him to observe, to listen, to care. And now he was teaching me how to speak without saying a word. The day of the banquet arrived like a storm you feel in your bones. The venue was draped in school colors, balloons tied to chairs, name cards on white linens. Everyone was glowing. Carol wore pearls. Bob wore smugness. Ashley wore the crown. "Can't wait to see what you made, Lucas," Ashley said, ruffling his hair like he was a pet. He didn't even blink. "Oh, you'll love it," he replied. And I swear there was thunder in that smile. The banquet hall was a well-oiled performance machine humming with polite laughter, silverware on porcelain, and the occasional clink of champagne flutes. Every detail had Ashley's touch navy and gold table runners to match the school colors. Floral centerpieces shaped into the number 2025, even a donut wall spelling out her name. It screamed, "I am the main character." I sat at the end of our family's assigned table beside the fire exit, appropriately distant. Carol and Bob were mid-conversation, with Ashley's principal gushing about how naturally gifted she was and how she'd always had leadership qualities. Lucas sat beside me, unusually calm. He had his iPad earbuds and fingers resting lightly on the trackpad like a pianist before a recital. Ashley walked by our table, trailed by two girls in matching dresses. "Lucas, you ready with the tribute?" she chirped. "I told the MC to play it right after dessert. This better not be one of those weird anime things you like." Lucas smiled politely. "No swords, promise." I could feel the tension buzzing under his skin, even if he hid it well. He turned to me once Ashley disappeared down the aisle. "It's queued up. All they have to do is press play." I swallowed hard, my heart a slow, persistent drumbeat in my chest. "You sure about this? Are you—" "No, yes, maybe." But the time for doubts had passed. The MC, a sprightly teacher with too much energy, tapped the mic. "Okay, everyone. While you finish your desserts, we've got a special presentation from Ashley's family. Her nephew Lucas put together a slideshow, and from what I hear, it's quite the tribute." The lights dimmed. A hush fell. The first few slides were harmless. Baby photos, Ashley on her tricycle, a kindergarten graduation cap. The crowd awed. I watched her at the center table, basking in it. She even waved. Then around slide number 6, the audio began. A voice crisp and unmistakable. "Honestly, if Rachel shows up in that green dress again, someone please sedate her." Laughter rippled uncomfortably across the room. Ashley's face froze. Another voice. "She's like a cautionary tale. I mean, who throws their future away to raise a kid that barely talks?" Silence. "Then sometimes I think she just likes being a victim. Makes her feel important." That one hit like a slap. I saw the color drain from Carol's face. Bob shifted in his seat. The principal's smile vanished. Ashley sat bolt upright. "What the hell is this?" Lucas looked down at his empty dessert plate and said softly, "It's your tribute." More quotes followed, each clipped from real events, family gatherings, school functions, whispered car rides. Ashley's voice again and again, dressed in cruelty disguised as comedy. The final slide came with no audio, just a quote in plain white text over black. "They treat her like trash, but she still shows up. That's strength, and I wanted them to hear it." Lucas Morgan. The room was dead still. No applause. No laughter. Just the sound of Ashley's world fracturing in real time. She shot to her feet. "This is slander." He edited it, he twisted it. But no one moved. Her friends stared at her slack-jawed. One girl whispered something to another, and they both quietly stood, grabbed their purses, and walked away. Bob coughed and excused himself. Carol blinked rapidly, clutching her purse like it might fly away. Her voice, when it finally came, was a whisper. "Rachel, I didn't know." I didn't answer, not because I couldn't, but because for once I didn't need to. Lucas had said enough for both of us. Ashley stormed out, heels clacking on the tile, fury radiating like heat waves. The projector screen rolled up. The MC mumbled something about coffee refills. No one laughed. And me, I sat still, holding Lucas's hand, feeling maybe for the first time in my life completely profoundly seen. The silence that followed Ashley's storm out clung to the banquet hall like humidity. People avoided eye contact. Some nervously sipped from empty glasses. Others fled to the restroom as if they could hide from the truth, now projected in full resolution. The pride of the Morgan family had just been dismantled, not by a scandal or an outsider, but by her own words, unfiltered, unforgiving, and finally unavoidable. Lucas didn't look smug. He wasn't smirking. He just sat calmly eating the cherry off his slice of cheesecake like nothing had happened. But something had. Something huge. Carol didn't speak for the rest of the evening. She tried once, her lips parting as if to offer damage control, but thought better of it. Instead, she stood and gathered her things with the slow motion of someone realizing too late they'd placed all their bets on the wrong horse. Ashley's absence was palpable. Every congratulatory hug that followed felt forced, every camera flash flickered awkwardly. Even the DJ cut the music early. Her principal left without saying goodbye. Her friends, they scattered. I didn't move from my seat for a long time. I wasn't celebrating, I was decompressing. For years, I had carried the weight of being the family's afterthought, the one they tolerated with backhanded compliments and hollow invitations. And now, that narrative had unraveled in under 7 minutes of unfiltered truth. But it wasn't over yet. 3 days later, the video was on TikTok. I don't know how it got there, maybe someone recorded it during the banquet, or maybe Lucas, being far savvier than I ever gave him credit for, had quietly uploaded it. Either way, the clip titled, "Graduation Speech Gone Wrong, She Exposed Her Own Sister," went viral fast. Thousands of comments flooded in. The nephew is a hero. Imagine being so mean your little cousin has to take you down at your own party. Rachel deserves the world. Ashley Hauer exposed. I didn't post a word. I didn't need to. The world saw me, now really saw me. And for once, it wasn't through Ashley's or Carol's lens. The fallout came swift and sharp. Ashley's college emailed a formal warning regarding public behavior, citing a need for conduct review. One of her scholarship sponsors dropped her. A few of her old high school teachers posted vague tweets about character over curriculum. At first, I thought I'd feel guilty, that maybe it had gone too far. But then I opened a message from a stranger. I saw the video, thank you. I've been the invisible sister too. Watching this made me feel seen for the first time. It broke something in me, something old and bitter. It didn't shatter, it softened. And then I cried. For the girl I was the one who kept shrinking to survive, and for the boy who refused to let me stay small. Lucas never asked for recognition. He never bragged. One night, I found him sketching a comic panel of a small lion roaring so loudly it cracked glass. "Who's that?" I asked, pointing. He shrugged. Just someone who didn't know how loud they were till they needed to be. Ashley used to define me. Her success, her shine, her ruthless comparisons, they shaped how I saw myself. But then Lucas held up a mirror to the entire room. And suddenly, I wasn't the cautionary tale. I was the survivor, the fighter, the mother who raised a son brave enough to speak the truth. I don't need to win family photo ops anymore. I've got something better. So tell me, who's your mirror? Comment below if someone's ever made you feel less than. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because your voice deserves to echo too.